Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Nowak and we're going to be talking about how to run a successful party on Facebook Messenger. So I know that everybody runs their parties a little bit differently. This is just what works for me and what I've found success with. So for me, the party night is literally just 15 minutes long. The party itself, I usually have open for about a week, but because it's only 15 minutes long, it provides an alternative to a regular week-long Facebook party, which is my other party format that I offer. And because of that, it seems to appeal to a little bit of a different audience because it's a shorter party. So I've had people, anytime like a younger crowd, I usually offer the messenger party style. People that are really busy, new moms, I've had it appeal to them. People that work really long hours at their work or just super busy in general. People that aren't on Facebook much, or even people that don't like Facebook parties. I found all of those different audiences. This seems to appeal to them. So sometimes when I'm reaching out, I will specifically mention, hey, I know you're super busy. I have this new party format that I'm testing out, and I thought it would really appeal to you. So sometimes I give them both options, but sometimes, specifically I mention this one, kind of depending on what I think will work for the host. And in my parties that I have, I always mention both types so that way people can choose. But one thing I do want to mention is that I never use the word easy when I'm discussing this party type in particular, any party type, because I feel like I really want to set the host up with correct expectations as to what they will be asked to do, right? Because we are asking them to give some of their time. And I don't want to devalue their time by saying that this is easy, or I don't want to just give them expectations that aren't correct. So I am asking them to make a list, intentionally invite friends, send personal messages, be active in the party, try out samples, so all of these things, they do take time, and I don't want them to think, oh, I don't have to do anything super easy. So again, I just try and eliminate the word easy from my host coaching in general. So when I do book the party, we set the date and the time, and I usually prefer to do Friday night, just kind of a preference of mine. It seems to work out well for a lot of people. It works out well for me in particular. So I pick a date, again, that works out well for me. If we say, the host wants to do September, I will pick out a date and I say, okay, great. How about Friday, September 15th? And, if it doesn't work for them, then, we go back and forth until we find a date that does. And then we set a time. So I generally like to do 8 p.m., the host's time. Again, making sure it works for me, and we kind of figure out what works for them as well. But generally for most people, Friday, 8 p.m. their time seems to work out great. And then I send out a host package, and I try and have it arrive about a week before their party. So I ask them if they have any samples that they're hoping to try. And not always do I have samples of what they're looking for, but I try and kind of gear the samples towards their preferences and what they might be interested in trying. So I send a handful of samples, I send a printed catalog, I send some joining information, and kind of some general FAQs about the party and being a host. And all along the way, I'm always host coaching, just like I would in a normal week-long Facebook party. So about a week after I send the package, making sure that they've gotten it, I check in to make sure, did you get the package? Make sure you try out those samples, be ready to give a review in the party. And then I kind of, again, set some expectations of what I would like for them to do. So I tell them, now is a great time to start making a list and sending out some personal messages to invite people. I give them a Frank's graphic to give them kind of some ideas on who they can invite. And I let them know they will be opening up the chat. I know people do this differently, but I find it works really well if they open up the chat and invite all of their friends and myself to that chat. And I have them do it just a day before the party night itself. So I walk them through that. I say, I will touch base the day before, so we will be, chatting again. And again, I say, make sure you review or try out your samples so you're ready to review them. And I let them know, make sure you're present on the party night. The more excited and into it you are, the more interested and excited your friends will be too, which equals more rewards for you. So again, all the expectations so they know what is expected of them. So on the day before the party, I check in with them again and I ask them how invites are coming along, and we set a time that they're going to open up the chat the next day. So if we're opening up the chat on Thursday, I'm checking in on Wednesday, and I have them pick a time. I didn't used to do this, but I found that sometimes people forget, or it's not always a convenient time for me, and I want to make sure I know when they're going to open it so I'm ready to send a message immediately after they do. So we set the time, say 3 p.m., and I give them text to open up the chat with, and I say, feel free to edit the text, make it sound like you, but it's basically like, welcome friends, thanks so much for coming to my lemongrass spa. I'm so excited to party with you tomorrow night, and I've loved everything that I've tried. Sometimes hosts add in their review in this message, which is great, or sometimes they do it later that day or the next day. So whatever they do works great. So the day the chat opens, the host adds in their message, and then I add in my first message immediately. Like I said, I like to be prepared with this. I feel like adding in my message right away says that I'm here, I'm present, and I've given them just kind of a really simple message, but I add in more information. So I give the date and time of the party. We will meet right here in this chat tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Be back here for some quick 15-minute information. I have some quick, I put in quick little blurb about lemongrass in that message. I give them the party link. I tell them they're welcome to start shopping and browsing immediately. I like to give a catalog link too. Some people like to look through the printed or the digital catalog. I find it's nice to give kind of both options. Some things are just a little easier to look at in the catalog itself versus the website, so giving both options is nice. And then I also tell them to send me a personal message if they have any questions. We'll try and keep notifications down in the chat. And I know this part in particular, people do a little bit differently, but I find every group is just very different in how they respond to things. So my first one, I worked really hard to keep notifications down, but the group was like mostly family members and really close friends. And immediately after opening it up, they just started sending messages within the group chat like, hi, so-and-so, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? And it really provided this warm atmosphere. And so I thought, nothing to worry about. This group is just chatty. And they really, provided this kind of warm atmosphere that was fun for the party. So whatever works for the party. But I do always mention, we're going to try and keep notifications down, and whether that works out or not, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So later that day, or the next day, kind of depending on how late the chat was opened up, I send another message. And I do want to mention, I do let the host know that there will be a couple of messages leading up to the party night. And I do try and keep the messages down, but you can only fit so much into 15 minutes, obviously, for the party night. And there are, kind of a number of things that I want to touch base on. And I also kind of like it to send reminders to people, since obviously this isn't their first priority. Sometimes people forget, but if you check in just a couple of times, each day, I think it's totally fine to do that, and that way people are kind of reminded about the party itself. So later that day or the next day, like I said, I send a message asking them how familiar they are with lemongrass. So again, this is very similar to what I would do in a week-long Facebook party, and asking, are they new to lemongrass? Are they, a lemongrass expert? So I always have a text and a graphic to go with all of my messages that I send. So the day of the party, I have another message that I send. I mention all the specials. So I have a personal special that I offer in all of my parties. I offer a free hand and body cream if they place an order of $50 or above. I offer, if they book a party, they get a deluxe sample pack. And then I also mention I have a party prize. So they will get an entry for every $25 that they spend. So that way they're kind of clear about all of the specials and deals and free things. And then I mention, again, if you help? Here's the link, send me a message, all of that sort of thing. And then an hour before, I send a message, 1 hour, get excited, meet back here. And then 15 minutes before, same thing, we'll meet back here in 15 minutes. And then when the party kicks off, I have a party script and it is saved in Evernote. Different people have kind of different ways, but for me, I find that it's nice to have the whole script all written out. So I save it in Evernote. I have 9 posts for my party. So, and it's flexible, kind of depending on how the party goes. Sometimes people, again, like I said, are really chatty and I don't get all my posts in, and that's okay. But with every post, I ask them a question and I have them respond either with a reaction to my post, do a heart reaction if, your answer is this. Or, often I will have them just, pick your, take this scent quiz and tell me your answer. And so, they kind of tell their answer in the chat. So I give them a couple of minutes, usually 2 to 3 minutes per post. So about 9 posts seems to work out depending on the party itself. So the first one, it's party time. Every time you participate, you'll get a point towards the party. Prize, let us know you're here. And then I usually have some sort of tell us the snack that you're eating or your drink of choice tonight or what the weather is like, where you're tuning in from, kind of something like that that's easy for them to respond to. And then the next post, I give some lemongrass information, kind of reiterating natural products, sulfate-free, all of that sort of thing. And then I have about 4 to 5 product posts, and this is where, things kind of have to be kind of edited as I go. So, I always talk about facial care, hair care, and I try and hit on a couple of the important categories. And again, cater towards the audience. So if I know that this particular group is really interested in makeup, I'm going to make sure to talk about makeup. If I know that this group doesn't care at all about makeup, I will not talk about makeup, so kind of depending on what I think the group might be interested in based on the host. I will tailor it to her tastes because her friends are most likely similar to her. I usually mention deodorant because I find that that's a popular one. And again, a great one to talk about clean products and clean switches that they can make in their life. And again, if it doesn't work out because people are responding and I have to drop a post, I kind of just take out a post or 2 as needed. But the second to last post, I mention hosting a party. I ask them if their wish list is growing, let's have a party. Remember, you get a deluxe sample pack. And then I also offer the host $5 to use at her party guests' parties. So that's kind of another incentive for booking a party, that your host will have $5 to spend at your party. And then the last post, I say that's it. And then I give them the shopping link again. I let them know when we're keeping the party open until, and I usually give them a little bit of time. So if the party's on Friday, usually I close it on Wednesday. And I always ask the host before and say, I'm planning on keeping it open until Wednesday. Do you think that will give everybody enough time? Sometimes they'll be like, oh, they are going to want to wait until payday. Let's keep it open until Friday. Or, more often than not, they're like, Wednesday is great. So I tell them when we're keeping it open until, and then I usually give them a couple more things, things that we didn't have time to touch on. So if we didn't talk about deodorant or makeup or the balms, or if I know that this is a group of young moms, I will mention we have baby products or, we have men's products. I try and hit on a couple more things so they're like, oh, great, I will check that out. So after the party, again, I will check in with the host. I will tell her, thank you so much for being such a super host. You did a great job. I will post thank yous in the party as orders come in. So that way she knows when orders are coming in and everybody else knows when orders are coming in as well. And that gives, a thank you to the person that ordered. So I just post a quick thank you graphic in the party group. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your order. I hope you love your lemongrass when it comes in. So then the next day, Just like I would in a Facebook party, I always say, did you miss the party? Scroll up, and then in this post, I give my VIP link. So again, it's hard to fit everything in on the party night when there's only 15 minutes, but that's kind of where I slip the VIP link in so that it's kind of after the party. They think, oh, I did have a great time. And so then they join my VIP group, and that gives them another point towards the party prize. The day after that, a post that I added in recently, I mentioned some other things that I hadn't had a chance to mention in the party. So this is a great chance to mention like our gift sets that we have, our birthday box, any special sales that are going on at the time. Certainly if the Bliss box is still available at that time, you would mention that. And another good one that I mentioned in one of my last parties are the Freedom Feet foot kits. So a lot of times people just aren't interested or not in the market to buy something for themselves. That's okay. But the Freedom Feet foot kits, they have the opportunity to buy something for somebody else, which, you know, people love supporting and donating towards causes that they believe in, but it also helps out their host, right? So they're really kind of feeling good about this. So I've had a lot of people jump on that, which is great. So I also check in with personal messages at some point. A day or two after the party, I send it to everybody that is in the party, like, hey, thanks so much for being in Sarah's party. I hope you had a great time. Here's the party link if you want to shop and browse. Let me know if I can help you with a recommendation. And not always do people respond, but I find this is a great way for people to just respond to your message if they do have a question. So, you know, again, it opens the door if they do need something. So the day before the party ends, I send the host a message and I have her check in with personal messages to each person that hasn't ordered, same as I would in a regular Facebook party. And the last day, I post in the party group a party poll just to say, hey, today's the last day, let us know where you're at. You get another point towards our party prize, so they can say, I've already ordered, I'm placing my order soon, or I need some help. And then I'm checking in with the host throughout the day, but also throughout the party as well to see, do people have questions? Here's your party total. Here's what your rewards are so far. So certainly on that last day, you know, if people have questions, I'm kind of finding out from her where people are at, you know, and then once everybody's placed their order that we think we're interested, I post a final thank you and I let them know I will total up the party points in the next couple of days. So once I do that, the next couple of days, I post the winner. I send them a personal message to let them know about it as well. And that's it. And I let them know, you know, in my final message too, if you're interested in booking a party, send me a message, you know, kind of another plug to have a party with me. So that is what I do. So let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this was helpful, and let me know what you think. Thanks so much.